The diplomatic quarters aboard the Zephyrian flagship Eternal Dominion had never housed such an unlikely pair. Queen Zirathul, sovereign of the most powerful empire in the Andromeda Spiral, stood at the viewport watching the stars streak past. In hyperspace, her crystalline carapace caught the artificial light, casting prismatic patterns across the walls. Beside her, on a makeshift cot that looked absurdly small in the vast chamber, lay Sergeant Marcus Chiern of the Terran Defense Corps. It had been 3 cycles since the arrangement began, an arrangement born of necessity, not choice. The human had been captured during the failed assault on Kepler Station, one of only 12 survivors from a force of 3,000. By all rights, he should have been executed or thrown into the labor pits with the others. Instead, Queen Zirathul had made an unprecedented decision that shocked her entire court. She would study this human personally. The Zephyrians had conquered 47 species across 12 galaxies. But humans were different. They were the first to actually wound the Empire, to make the Queen herself retreat from a battlefield. Their ships were inferior, their weapons primitive, their numbers laughably small compared to the Zephyrian war machine. Yet somehow, they had held 3 key systems for over 2 solar cycles, inflicting casualties that shouldn't have been possible. "Your kind fascinates me, human," Zirathul said without turning from the viewport. Her voice carried the harmonic overtones that marked her as royalty among her species. "Tell me again why you chose to sleep on the floor rather than the bed I provided." Marcus sat up on his cot, running a hand through his disheveled hair. 3 cycles of this same routine had made him comfortable enough to speak freely with the alien monarch who could order his death with a thought. "Same reason I told you yesterday, Your Majesty. A soldier sleeps where he can be ready to fight. That fancy bed of yours is too soft, too comfortable, makes you vulnerable." Zirathul's secondary arms twitched. What Marcus had learned was the Zephyrian equivalent of a smile. "Even here, in the heart of my empire, surrounded by 10,000 warriors who would die for me, you maintain your vigilance. Remarkable." She turned from the viewport, her 6 eyes focusing on him with an intensity that had initially terrified him, but now seemed almost companionable. "My sleep cycles have been more restful these past 3 rotations than they have been in stellar." "Cycles? Do you know why?" Marcus stood, maintaining the respectful posture he'd adopted early in his captivity. Despite everything, he found himself curious about this alien queen who could have simply dissected him for information, but instead chose to house him in her personal quarters. "Because you know I'm here," he said simply. "You know that if anything goes wrong, if there's any threat, I'll react faster than your guards. It's not loyalty. We both know where we stand. But it's what I am. What humans are." "Yes." Zirathul moved closer, her movements fluid despite her imposing 8-foot frame. "What humans are. This is what I am trying to understand. My scientists have analyzed your physiology, your technology, your tactical databases, all inferior to ours in every measurable way. Yet you persist. You fight. You adapt." She gestured to a holographic display that materialized in the air between them, showing tactical readouts from recent battles. "Last cycle, your forces held the Prometheus Nebula against odds of 50-1. The cycle before, a single human ship disabled 3 of our dreadnoughts using nothing but mining charges and gravitational physics." "How?" Marcus studied the displays, recognizing some of the battles he participated in before his capture. "You want to know the real difference between humans and every other species you've conquered. Enlighten me." "They fought you like it was a game with rules. Strategy, honor, proper formations, acceptable losses." Marcus's voice hardened. "Humans fight like we're already dead. Every battle is the last battle. Every shot is the shot that saves everyone we love. You can't predict what someone will do when they have nothing left to lose and everything to fight for." Zirathul was quiet for a long moment, processing his words. "And this is why you sleep on that uncomfortable cot instead of accepting comfort. You maintain your readiness to die." "I maintain my readiness to live," Marcus corrected. There's a difference. The queen moved to her own sleeping alcove, a bioengineered structure that molded itself to her unique physiology. I have decided to extend our arrangement indefinitely. Human, my high command believes I am wasting time that should be spent planning your species' complete annihilation. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. And what do you believe, your majesty? I believe, Zirathul said as she settled into her alcove, that understanding your species may be more valuable than destroying it. Tomorrow, I want you to explain. Human concepts of loyalty and sacrifice. My translators insist these words have no equivalent in our language. As the chamber's lights dimmed to simulate nighttime, Marcus returned to his cot. He lay awake for some time, listening to the subtle sounds of the queen's breathing as she entered her sleep cycle. Somewhere in the vast ship around them, her empire continued its relentless expansion. But here, in this room, a human soldier and an alien queen had found an unlikely arrangement that served them both. He had become her guardian, whether she admitted it or not. And perhaps more importantly, she had become his student. In teaching her about humanity, Marcus began to realize he might be planting seeds that could change the course of an entire war. As sleep finally took him, Marcus Chun smiled grimly. Tomorrow, he would teach the queen of the Zephyrian Empire about sacrifice. And perhaps, just perhaps, she would learn why humanity could never truly be conquered. The stars continued their ancient dance outside the viewport, witnesses to an impossible friendship that might just save two civilizations from destroying each other.